Hello, everyone. I hope you guys have an incredible day. Welcome, 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 everyone. Hello, love, love, love. Hello, Grace Aquarius, Angelina. So great to see you, Mary Lena. Wonderful to see you, Samantha, Grace Aquarius. Love you. Thank you so much for being here. Greg Herrera, GB, Emmer, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. So today we are going to be discussing about the illumination of your light body. When we begin to access higher states of consciousness, what does that look like energetically, and how do we tune into this higher state of embodiment? And we're just going to take a look at some concepts of how energy compresses and coils within the body, and what happens in order for us to illuminate and access into the higher state of consciousness energetically in the body. So let's go ahead and share this live. I'm going to go ahead and share this video. And today I really want to do Q&A. So I would like you guys to please put in the questions that you have. Where are you guys having issues? Where do you feel blocked? Let's talk about that and let's address that so we can take a look at how we can support better here. And what I'd really like to do is kind of go into the past couple videos of the past couple days to see if we have any primary questions here. Okay, so we have a question Marilena put in for us the other day, which says, as I heal these fractals and cut cords, does that mean that my children are also free of these ancestral cords from me? Yes, the answer is yes. And I think I explained this a little bit yesterday, that when we begin to change our root core belief system, we are affecting the subconscious programs that are an expression of our DNA. So epigenetically, we are expressing, so through the complex system of the holographic DNA, the physical body connecting the mind-body connection between the emotions and energetic body, the nervous system, is encoding all of the programs of how we're supposed to feel, behave, and react to experiences. So essentially, when you start getting and identify a root program that you are looking to override or to shift and change, you immediately begin to shift the vibrational frequency of your overall body. And so this allows you to have an entire shift in the entire body, opening space. It not only affects the physical body, but it also affects your multidimensional body. In the same way that we begin to clear programs that are embedded in the body, in the muscle system, nervous system, we are accessing the same location in the body in the external body. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today as we talk about the coiling of this information. But essentially, every layer of the body is a holographic projection of the information in your DNA, both the protein writing physical vessel, which is up to the third, fourth body. And then after that, it's the non-physical information that is being projected. So these are past lives. This is your connection to your ancestral lineage. This is your connection to the Akash and everything that you've ever been as you incarnate into this physical realm. And then beyond that, your interdimensional aspects of yourself, fractals of yourself, your star seed bloodlines, your connections to your angelic aspects of yourself. However you manifest in all dimensional layers is embedded in the DNA. It is encoded in the DNA blueprint. So essentially that becomes projected out. And so anytime that we begin to do any core belief system shifts, this is where we really begin to change and shift the way we're holding space in our physical body. So it's a powerful way, as we mentioned, to begin to work with the energetic body and allow your spin to begin to move faster. The toroidal field, that is your expression, beginning to spin as the information begins to become heightened and refined through the transmutation process of life force. Okay, so that is really what we're learning how to do. And when we go through this process, the outcome is that whatever you are holding in your DNA and what you're no longer strengthening Because remember, ancient cultures used to be very specific about maintaining family bloodlines. And what that does is that it strengthens these core belief systems, creates almost like a concentrated family lineage of information, karmic traumas, deep programming, matrix programming that is deeply embedded within the core roots of these families were then spread out into society. And they created the root trauma that makes up our matrix. In fact, our matrix is designed essentially by the root fragmentation that is implemented through socialization programs, through social engineering, through the ages. And these implementations of concepts, of structures of our reality, compartmentalizations of our reality, are what maintain the vibrational frequency of the human fragmented through their human experience. And so it isn't until we begin to break away from those attachments, alignments, and inheritance of these programs that we can actually break away from that and begin to access, wake up from that dormant state in order to begin to see ourselves as we really are, which is infinite potential. The infinite potential that cannot be put into a box or compartmentalized or even split in duality. And that's really the point of this human experience, that we are learning how to go through this separation into this unity once again. So this is where we find ourselves, and everything that we are as we move through this healing and integration process into that oneness now becomes the core DNA. So just as generations and generations of bloodlines being strengthened through these programs, we can also create and strengthen our bloodlines through the activation and alchemical process. Because any human that practices alchemical arts in their human life creates mutations within their DNA that allow them to hold higher bands of frequency, that allow the offspring or the children that are being created from these lineages to sustain larger bands of light. And so over the last centuries, because of this natural cycle of evolution, the human race is inevitably raising the vibrational frequency as they become aware and wake up from that hypnosis, because the matrix breaks. Essentially, this illusion of the matrix and the construct breaks naturally, because it's no longer in alignment with the new vibrational frequencies that we are all existing in as we move closer to the photonic belt, but also as we are going through the trajectory of this infinity spiral that we're beginning to access into the center point. The closer that we get to the center point of that infinity movement in the universe, the faster the vibrational frequency, which means higher vibrational frequency for all organisms that exist within this dimensional existence. And so every human begins to have access to higher dimensional levels of their own self, because they need to in order to be a match to this environment. So that in itself allows the opportunity for the person to begin to create this implosion, internal implosion process that occurs as they enter into this alchemical transmutation of the lower into the higher frequencies. And again, it's through the emotional body, because the emotions are the vibrational language of DNA, genetic code, holographic DNA, emotions, and the way that we process our physical experiences. So this is really where we start getting to the core. And so every child that is birthed from a human that is doing this kind of work, the child is embedded and encoded with that memory of the alchemical transmutation process within their DNA. So this is how we have a lot of humans that are lineages of Christic bloodlines, or some people identify with Magdalene bloodlines. So the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the highest aspect of these bloodlines represent that within that bloodline, they had many ascended masters or humans that have used transmutational exercises in order to transmute their consciousness. And many of you that are here for generations have experienced and explored these arts in many lifetimes. You have been magi's, you have been sorcerers, you've been witches, white light witches, and that there's a big difference between the dark arts and the white arts, okay? So those of you that have, but all of you have experienced both sides in order to be here today, because we are coming to the culmination of your experiences in this lifetime in order to experience the integration of duality, which is a huge, huge opportunity. And every human on this planet at this time is here for that. The fact that we went collectively through these major changes over the last couple of years allow us to understand that embedded within us is really the opportunity to begin to enter into a different way of existing and living, the new human, right? The new human that is available. So we want to allow ourselves to create a compassionate way for integration, okay? Let me go over here and see if we have any questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat. Love the meditation. Thank you. Higher vibrational fruits. Would love to know, having some wine sometimes make your vibration lower, right? I stopped drinking wine in the last 2 months. My goal is to increase higher vibrational frequencies. Nice to bless and speak on your food before you eat. Yeah, great question, Paulette. So the question about alcohol. Now, alcohol is really something that we want to pay attention to, because alcohol is a neurotoxin, and there's several studies that show how these neurotoxins kill and weaken blood cells, which means that it is weakening your DNA. It weakens the coiling, and which means the compressing of information within your DNA. And the fact that we, even just a little bit, disconnects the mind-body connection, okay? So take a look at the study on alcohol and how it affects the physical body. Everybody is free will to choose, of course, if that's what you want to do, or if that's what you want to experience. There's nothing wrong with that. But just understand the implications of that if you are on the journey of understanding your higher or accessing intuition, for example. I don't advise to utilize any kind of stimulants because you're making it harder for yourself. It's already hard enough for humans to be able to navigate their empathic abilities and dominate and understand how to own your space. So when you do things like drinking, for example, what happens in the multidimensional body is that the back of the body, the spinal cord, the energetic impression from the back of the body becomes very weak. And this is connected to the kind of effect that it has on your brain. I really advise, I just recently heard an interview by a gentleman named Huberman, who has a podcast, and he talks about the neurological effects of alcohol. And he is super thorough, and really, really love his work in terms of that thorough review of how it affects the brain cells. So go ahead and check that out. But if you understand those effects, you can make your own decision, and you can choose, whether you want to have a drink or drinks or not. But as a psychic, and in my cultivation, what I have discovered is that whenever I would try to drink years ago, that it would really slow me down, and it would be like this, like manually putting a cloud over my head, and then it was just hard to remove. Disconnect, difficult to decipher messages, difficult to decipher communication. It was just a numbing of your abilities. So I really, and why would you do that to yourself when you're already trying to connect and refine your abilities? I also did not like at all the side effects in which the energy body becomes depleted and you end up having holes in your field, it's just not a good thing for the physical organs. Remember that anything that strains the physical organs in its detoxification process is causing an effect in your auric field, because again, each organ projects and connects in order to maintain this house of willpower. So if we're using anything that takes us out of that house of willpower created by the integration of the lower dantian and the balanced movement of the major organs, we're kind of bringing the body out of balance. So those are things that you might want to take a look at. The other part of the alcohol element is, of course, the interdimensional aspect. And for those of you that are highly intuitive, that are highly empathic, I do not suggest it. And the reason why is because you're super psychic, you drink alcohol, it inhibits certain parts of your process brain, and it highlights other parts of it. So the part that can't gauge and have any mastery over what you're saying, what you're speaking, how you're filtering information becomes dissolved. And what that means, that's not only just with words and concepts and expressions, but that's also energetic. So your ability to process data, such as interdimensional beings, attachments, entities, it's very easy to take it on the body because you're not in your sovereign empowerment and mastery or awareness. So a lot of people will end up having attachments, everything from disembodied souls. I'll tell you a story that my shaman told me about this gentleman that was drinking and very distressed about their house. And they were drinking all night, and finally we're going home, and at 4 a.m, he finds himself with his keys in front of the door, doesn't remember how he got there. So goes to the door, tries to open the keys, and the keys won't open. And he figures out, he's sitting there, and all of a sudden the people open the door of the house, and it turns out that it was somebody else's house. And the gentleman proceeds to begin to not recognize his surroundings. He's like, oh, this isn't my house, actually, after he gains consciousness. And when the shaman encounters this being, this person, discovers that he was taken over by a disembodied soul that had just recently passed away in that neighborhood, and that was his house. So, these stories, however fantastic they may seem, are very common with people that are drinking and doing things like this. And when you visit a bar, for example, and you have vision, you begin to notice a lot of interdimensional traffic in these kinds of places. There's a lot of heavy energy, stagnant energy, and the colors that are usually utilized in these spaces are very dim and dark, and that's for a reason, because wherever there is a lack of light, a lot of these beings will accumulate and store within that area energetically. Okay, so it's the co-creation of unconscious and disconnect from the higher self and vision. So anyway, those are the things that happened with that, and just some points on that. Jessica, welcome. I'm so glad you joined us for the live. Welcome, Marilena. Liza, I appreciate all you're doing. Thank you so much. GB, thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you very much. I'm very appreciative of that. Much love to you. Anders, hello. Lisa. Hello, Bob Berkins. Welcome. Samantha, there was one time while meditation that I saw myself inside my body. Everything was black, was not able to move my body, and I heard a voice, a female, telling me to relax. Oh, interesting. That's an interesting experience. So when I experience things like that, I would take a look at, are you in survival mode or are you in a state of observation? Gently bring yourself into observation and just observe. If it feels that this is something that you want to participate in or not. Do not be afraid, because the more you wake up, the more you're going to have these kinds of experiences of interdimensional activity. and we need to learn how to navigate them calmly. So definitely think about that. What about the alcohol on tinctures? Is that okay? Yeah, I mean, of course, minimal amounts of this alcohol wherever you need it, is fine. Even fermentation, of course, is really good for your biome. But I'm talking about like actual, drinking a lot to the point where people are unconscious and unaware of what's happening. There's always an effect in the multidimensional body. So what's the difference between dark magic and white magic? My guess is that dark magic uses the esoteric black sun destructively, and that's white magic uses black sun constructively. Yeah, so how I would define those two is very simple. Respect and in alignment with the laws of nature and the inversion of nature, the laws of nature, okay? And this can be anything. Anytime that we are in a war with ourselves, we begin to tune in to a lot of black magic activity because we become counter creative. If we feel anger towards something, if we feel resentment towards something, the choices that derive from those deep programs and emotions can really cause a lot of harm in our world. And we don't understand the side effects often until we behave in that way. And then we create these chain reactions with our relationships, friends, families. So it's always really important to understand that being in the light means seeing everything as one and being able to choose wisely from that complete awareness. Those that utilize black magic are about the wounded aspects of feminine and masculine. They are of the inversion of nature. They are afraid of nature. They are afraid of truth, most importantly. So anytime the truth is inverted, that is the opposite of nature. And that's how I would define that. So we actually might participate in black magic in ways that we might not really know, but we do when we make unconscious behaviors, those have chain reactions. That's why consciousness is so important. What is a good way to introduce this information to a 5-year-old? Okay, so I talked a little bit about this. When working with children, the number one way that children learn up until the puberty, up until the age of puberty. So let's talk about what happens. First of all, in the womb, the child is absorbing all the emotions of the mother and the father and the environment. They are experiencing them. And that creates the subconscious program that they're going to feel about their life the moment they are born, okay? These expressions are also implemented and designed by the archetypes in which they are born into. So, and I do mean influences of celestial bodies at the time of their conception, which allow the vibrational frequency of the seed of their consciousness to come into life. So these organisms that are being born and go through the gestation process are utilizing the filter of their archetype, which is not yet manifested until it's born, right? It really solidifies from the womb until the age of 7. That's when all those programs are essentially coming out. Infinite being, wow, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. Namaste. I'm so grateful. So what happens till the age of 7 is that the profound programming, and what does that mean? The chakra system of the body is fully developed by the age of 7, the first 7 chakras, okay? So this is really important. At the time that these chakras begin to develop, every year, a new chakra comes into full fruition in the physical body. And that's why the full system of programming and processing of different vibrational frequencies and emotions comes into fruition by the time they're the age of 7. Then there is another phase until they hit puberty, in which the implementation and solidification, crystallization of the physical programs now comes into play. So first, the etheric body is fully built. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a seventh, a heart chakra, or you don't have a throat chakra at the time of birth. You have all the chakras, but they come into full manifestation, which means that it's almost as if they are filled and filtered. They are pulling the information from DNA in order to support the experience that the child is having with parents, mother and father, as they grow up. So as they are raised, until the age of 7, the body is pulling from DNA all the filing cabinets, producing constructs of understanding, beginning to formulate personality type reaction experiences. So you can already see a child at the age of 2 or 3 have a very strong personality because it's pulling from that database. And the thing is that as parents, we can help support the child by, first of all, getting to know our emotions very well, the effects of our emotions and how we express them, consciously and subconsciously, because the child functions on subconscious wave patterns. Okay, so the bodies of a child, because they have their solar plexus fully engaged and empowered by the age of 3, they're already picking up this sense of self and the way that they're going to navigate emotions. So they process and they can pick up your subconscious expressions and information before you might even be aware of them. So, you have a smile on your face, but you're having problems with husband. The child picks up all of that. They pick up your discomfort. They feel your emotions. Remember that the child is biologically, through the electromagnetic field, completely interconnected to you and to father as well, okay, through DNA. So the child will pick up all of that. So how do we address and how we teach them is by learning how to hold our space. Number 1, your emotions have to be in check. You have to understand, be aware of your emotions. The awareness of the emotions allows a pause time in your reaction. And that pause time builds gray matter within the body. It's a meditative state that you are creating in your body. This overall creates that transduction availability for you so that you can transmute lower emotions into higher when you're ready to do that. That process creates a vibrational frequency that the child begins to pick up, and it begins to recognize emotions in their raw state. Fear as fear, love as love, protection as protection, safety as safety. So it creates a really strong, solid foundation emotionally for the child's perception. This is important for everyone to understand, because when you're in your healing process, revisiting the wounded child, you need to know this in order to understand how to help that child, because that child, and you will recognize this as you see yourself in this healing, you will be able to see that as well. So it's really important to hold space for the child in that way. The second way to do that is to allow the child to express their emotions, help them become familiar with emotions. Literally, you can have flashcards for emotions. There's a way to have games so that they can learn how to express their needs. They even have this for cats and dogs now, where the cat will press a button in order to communicate something that they require. So we don't provide those kinds of tools for our children at an early age. Subconsciously talking to them and learning how to embody a profound unconditional love is really important. To feel it, to expand your heart center, to balance the dantian, and to feel that love and breathe with them so that they can begin to understand coherence. That coherence helps them connect with a very deep sense of self. Okay, so anyway, this is one thing that I will mention, but anyway, I guess we can do an entire video on that. But I'll stop right there. I would say that you yourself, as an example, is the greatest way to teach the child non-verbally. What are your thoughts on the use of mushrooms or DMT? So our body produces natural DMT, and I talked about that earlier in our challenge. And for that reason, DMT is a very important chemical that is created in the physical body that is naturally produced when you activate your intuition abilities. When we utilize synthetic forms of DMT or any kind of stimulants, what happens is that you go and you and so what happens is that whether you're prepared or not, you take yourself and you jump shot, you open up your ability to access these realms, or the ability to see these realms. But all you're doing is you're seeing from far away. There is no integration process. The reason why DMT in the physical body is so powerful when it's naturally produced is that it creates a chain reaction between the pineal gland, the amygdala, that creates a connection and a self-regulating homeostasis within the nervous system of the body. That is not produced when we take mushrooms or DMT. What happens instead is that you have a rush of the DMT, you have you go into the realms, you can see all you want to see and experience, but the physical body itself is not prepared to anchor those higher frequencies within the entire system. We have a very beautiful, complex, multidimensional body. And there's a cultivation process that is required, which is why shamans are the only ones that used to do these kinds of plant medicines in the past, because there's a preparation that has to happen. We have to build the multidimensional body, create a foundation energetically, so that when we enter, we know how to navigate those realms. It's not just about having a fun experience and seeing cool things. You can see many beautiful things and understand many things. But the purpose of the plant medicine is to navigate interdimensional realms. And the purpose of that is that you can begin to master yourself in preparation for out-of-body experiences in dream time, in the Akashic realm, and in death. So these are really powerful, sacred medicines and aids that can help a human. I understand using it in moments of, I know that they're microdosing some of these things clinically and psychologically. The effects of those are incredible to help people pull out of really low states of consciousness. Okay, and that's fine. But in addition to that, it is really important to have an understanding of how we function multidimensionally, because what ends up happening is that fragmentation occurs, fractalization. And I have a lot of people that I work with in my practice that have had these experiences, and they left a part of themselves in the realm, and then they can't find home anymore. So they can't function in their everyday life. They go into deep depression. They go into this addictive cycle where they need and they require that external stimulation in order to access information. And what happens is that they disconnect from their internal vision. And that is the worst mistake that any human can make, because that's basically the death of the human going into a counter-creative cycle. You see, intuition is not just about experiencing or seeing cool things or interesting things. It is about your entire genetic ancestral lineage waking up from the dormant state in order to transcend. Everything that you do in this lifetime pulls forward generations and rewrites generations of trauma. So if you're stuck in the feeling body and experiential body with these medicines, you're not going to have the opportunity to access that information. And that information is only accessible through the emotional body. So anytime we access these medicines that hinder your ability to really connect with the emotional body, which happens because you force the body to access and secrete DMT, and that's not good, because it's like the ejaculation. Okay, so when your energy, your seed is let out, you're tired, you're exhausted. And it's the same with spiritual energy. When we go into these energy centers, of information in other dimensional planes, the body can't adjust because it's so dense. You have a lot of trauma, you have a lot of stuff you haven't resolved, but here you are in another dimension, there's a disconnect. So sometimes the bodies can't fully integrate. Anyway, I'll do a whole video on that sometime, but yeah, that's some information there. Let's see if I have any other questions here. Thank you so much for the Dirty Maid transformation. Yay, Sienna. Hello, Greg. Hello, Jaden, Lisa. Yeah. Love you, Geraldine. Love you, Christina. I'm so happy to hear that you and your daughter are here. Hello, Olivia. So great to see you. John Shane, just in time, catching it. Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you so much for being a part of our community, John. We're so happy to have you here. And if it fits very well with what I heard, that the Black Sun represents all of reality and is only destructive, such as destructive side of Kali when the relation to it is fragmented, not wholly. That's right. Anything that becomes fractalized or refracted is not the whole. So that's a wonderful way to put it. Thank you, Anders. When sugar detoxing, can you talk about the effects of berries and fruits? Yeah, so the only thing that I can say on that, just because I'm not a nutritionist, and this really depends on your current state of your biome, and it depends on your blood levels. So please have those checked before you do any of that, to make sure that you have supportive nutrients, because what happens is that sugar takes up a lot of the processing of nutrients that we need in the body, and your body doesn't even know what to ask for anymore. It just wants sugar. So in order to regulate the body, make sure that you're supporting it with a lot of protein, healthy protein, whatever protein that you're taking, to help support that shift. And at least when I was doing a sugar cleanse, I started using the fruits that had the least amount of sugar, and then slowly increment those fruits into my diet again. Lots of fiber, and, you know, blueberries and green apples, for example, were my staple fruits that I would ingest during, you know, starting sugar again. So those are some things that I would look at. But sugar detox is about replacing with protein and then fiber. So lots of veggies. Okay, that's all I'll say. Okay, greetings, everyone. Hello, Justic. Welcome so much. Hi, Geraldine. Hello, Light Feather. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that. Hit the like button, says Infinite. Geraldine, I'm glad you mentioned not having to have a singular purpose yesterday. I've always felt this. Life, so many lives already in just this life. I can't imagine doing only one thing. Right. Yes, we're meant for so many things. Amazing topics as always, so relevant. People talking about DMT, trying to get high. It's about the spiritual initiations. It's spiritual sacred art forms. Yes. Yes. Don't need mushrooms for out-of-body experiences. I have done it as a survival mechanism from trauma since a small child. Now I work on being in my body. Awesome, Greg. So proud of you. Yes. That is the way to do it and the way to use it. Very good. Kevin Parkinson says, with ejaculation, by the way, I agree that it is usually depleting, but in my experience, when it happens as part of a wholesome circuit of connectivity with a woman, it can be incredibly life-giving. Exactly. So there is a way to do this, and thank you for bringing that up. And that's actually one of the most important parts of this challenge, which we will touch lightly, not all the way, because it's a really profound topic, that, you know, intercourse can be utilized as a spiritual tool for ascension. And it is really just a whole nother level of connecting with a partner, in that you are learning how to utilize the most potent life force, which is creative life force, the seed and the egg, in order to utilize that into spiritual energy. And it can be healing for the body, for both men and women, incredibly healing. It could be nourishing, and it can help you unlock higher states of ecstasy, as well as enter into these interdimensional planes. So those are definitely something that I would suggest for sure. Whenever I need to get back in my body, I smoke a cigarette. Okay, well, Grace, we can definitely do that. Just with love. You can always just love, that's also one way. Haha, just name present. Yes. If a person has a lot of light, maybe more than others, can they attract all walks of life, even if they shield themselves? And why is this? Okay, so the attraction mechanisms that we function by are primarily subconscious programs. Okay, it's actually the subconscious mind that makes you resonant to things. So this is why our programming, understanding programming, is essential when we're thinking about connecting or co-creating or manifesting things. It's not about you just, let's say, embodying happiness or embodying something. You literally have to become what you're looking to attract, let's say in a relationship, or let's say in a job, in a career. What are you worth? Where is your worth? What are you worthy of? Understand your worth profoundly, understand your core needs, desires, and understand your patterns. Because what happens is that even if you have a lot of light, if you're not aware of your patterns, you will continue to repeat those in your relationships and in all manifestation manners. So the way that we can break those patterns is by beginning to be aware of how we are attracting and shielding. The thing with protection has become such a code word for us, or I guess a niche word, or what, how would I express that? It's just become such a cliche word actually in the spiritual community. But the truth is that we don't need protection from anything. You are a source of infinite potential. And when you own that infinite potential, you become a master co-creator, and you become one with everything, in that you are a master of your own fears. When you're a master of your own fears, and when you know your shadows inside out, nothing externally can utilize that to harm you, to manipulate you, to blindside you in any way. Essentially, nothing can have power over you when you know yourself deeply. So this is the protection. This is the protection that we utilize, and that is the embodiment of profound unconditional self-love and knowing, inner knowing and inner mastery. So that's actually the most powerful protection. And that's not just conceptually, that's the deepest way of embodiment. The side effect of that is I can do an entire video on the side effects of just that concept, because your entire body has several mechanisms. Your nervous system comes into balance. You're no longer in survival mode, in fight or flight, which means that you're regulating the chemicals in your body, which means that your hormones are in alignment. You're matching the natural rhythms of Earth because you're in alignment with yourself. And that allows you to have full restorative power over your organism. That allows you to show up fully into your experiences and to connect to the more co-creative aspects of yourself. So there's an entire chain reaction that the human body comes into when we begin to own our empowerment in that way. Okay. I had an extremely advanced dream during sleep recently, including higher emotions. Can consciousness sometimes be higher in dreams than in the waking state? Yes, absolutely, Anders. In fact, everything that we're not doing in the waking state, we're doing in this interdimensional planes. We are way more active in our out-of-body experiences because we are navigating through our past lives. We are looking at fractals of ourselves. You are no longer tied to the physical body. So you, through your astral cord, through your cord source light, you are beginning to access all the fractals of yourself in which you exist. And we are living simultaneous lifetimes in these fractals of yourself. Okay, we have during the time of our sleep. That's why sleep is so important, because you can access spiritual healing. When I sleep, I'm dreaming about going into other dimensions, healing other people. I literally do healing sessions on people. And they're people that I remember so vividly. And, you know, I do the work with them just like I have clients in my everyday sessions. But I work in different levels. I can work energetically with them. You can work interdimensionally with them. Humans, non-humans, you know, all of these interdimensional fractals of ourselves. So dreams are very important for us to pay attention to. Notice the lessons, notice the tools, and try to become as lucid as possible. All right, do you have any tips on curing, treating long COVID side effects, PASC? Okay, so any kind of illness that we have in the body is brought into the body as an agreement. And the agreement is the cyclical program in order to allow the human to access its own healing abilities and to wake up consciousness from its dormant state. So what we need to identify is, first of all, this specific illness, C, is essentially targeting the 8th and 9th chakra system of the physical body. Over the past 2-3 years, we, because we're entering into a new octave of vibrational frequency, have had to access the lowest densities of the collective. That's what this was about. And the way that this C is utilized is by utilizing the deepest primal aspects of human and manipulating that against the human. And what that does is that it weakens the immune system in such a way that the body begins to attack itself. So in order to reverse that, we have to clear out the 7th and 8th, and we have to figure out what are the deepest, darkest shadows over the past couple years that you have not been able to break, and work on those. Find the core belief systems and transmute them. Once you do, you will be able to recover and regain your life force, because what it looks like on people is like they're wearing a red blanket. This is what it looks like on people. And red is a very low, heavy wave frequency. And that represents, you know, fear in the lower end and safety in the higher end. So what we need to do is re-strengthen our relationship with feeling safety. What does it take for you to feel safe? And for many that were deeply affected during these cycles are those that have a life purpose, an archetypal aspect of themselves that needs to learn about safety. And it's a lesson that we've been battling with for many lifetimes, that in this lifetime you incarnate to experience such a thing that changed the entire world overnight. You know, it's a major initiation for all humans on this planet. So those are the things that we need to work on. Now let's talk about practically. Do Qigong to help you. Work with the lung meridian. Okay, the lung meridian is right here. And there are steps that you can do. Massage it. You're going to feel, if it feels really sore right there, that's because that lymphatic system there is really filled with toxins. So you need to detox the lymphatic system to allow for the immune system to be able to kind of start working properly. Okay, and there are some, I will put here in the chat 2 videos of Qigong practices that are my go-to. I also want you to do tapping in the chest in order to release anger and sorrow, 2 major things from the chest. When we talk about lung illnesses or respiratory illnesses in the body, we need to release anger and sorrow, and that really stores here within the lungs. So when we have a lot of that, it's blocking the sacral chakra from the back. So if you look at the bodies of people that have C, okay, they have a blockage here in this meridian system of the lung, in the heart chakra is super contracted and condensed and congested energetically, and they have a blockage in the sacral, and they have a blockage in the crown. So these three main points have to be flushed out in order to begin to move the life force in the body. Transmute that life force in the body, create a runway of energy, and begin to clear that out. Okay, and I'll put those down here at the end of this. And you know what's really interesting, because I had it too. Once I was able to resolve those root programs and I surrendered, because a lot of it is resistance, right? You don't want to forgive, you don't want to let go, you don't want to accept, or you have issues with your own self-worth. Those are the things that have to be addressed. Once you surrender to that, your body will begin to clear and heal and recover. We are not inherently made to be sick. Illness does not exist within the body, and that has to be deeply programmed into our subconscious mind, just the way that they program that flus are a yearly thing that everyone has to get. No, those are programs. So we have to break those programs and reprogram with the fact that illness doesn't need to exist in the body when we bring our emotions into a state of balance. Okay, it's really important. So let's come over here. I've noticed that in my dreams, I'm in a state of observer, watching myself in my dreams. Before I was a player in my dreams, but now I'm watching myself in my dream. Wow, interesting, love, love, love. You're starting to access that, you know, this ability to come into a lucid state. What are some of the ways that we can be more conscious during our sleep time? Okay, so how you're going to train yourself to be conscious. GPAC, okay? GPAC is what I teach people to do: grounding, protecting, aligning, co-creating. The fact that you begin to work with your multidimensional body, being fully in the present moment, every moment of your day, will naturally allow you to become lucid in dream time. There are other ways to become lucid in dream time, which involve meditation, you know, before you sleep. But the most powerful way is that you trigger the brain into waking up from a dormant state. It's like when you go swimming. Remember when you were children, I don't know, some of you went swimming in the summer. You go swimming all summer, and at night when you're in bed, you still feel the sensations of being in the water. You still have that memory in your body of moving and being in that water, that kind of light feeling, right? So that's kind of how lucid dreaming also works, and this conscious present moment. If you're right now, you know, are you just completely immersed in watching me, or are you aware of your physical body? So focus on your body, or maybe you're multitasking, doing a lot of things. So for a moment, come back into your body, bring yourself fully into the awareness of your body. And as you come into the body, you begin to wake up aspects of yourself. Go ahead and activate 7th, 8th, 9th, all the way up to the 13th chakra, and see yourself from these chakras as you ground into the earth, okay? And be aware of your energetic space. And as you practice this, I mentioned before, having an alarm that you can utilize that will remind you every hour of your day to wake up and come into this state of awareness. Your lucid dreams, you're gonna bring that into your lucid dream automatically. Okay, so this is the most powerful way to shift your life and to begin to do lucid dreaming. Okay, and what will happen in your dreams is that you're gonna practice, because as you go to sleep, you're gonna tell yourself, I'm gonna wake up consciousness, I'm gonna be aware of myself, go into full awareness, let your body remember what that feels like, and then go to sleep. And in the dream time, it'll do that. If you repeat that every night before you go to sleep, it'll be easier and easier. There are also other ways to do this that you practice in the morning, like around 6 in the morning, 4 in the morning. You put an alarm to wake yourself up, go to the bathroom. When you're going back to sleep, you tell yourself, I'm going to be conscious, I'm going to be awake. Memorize in your body what that feels like, go back to sleep, and you will definitely experience a lucid dream where you will be conscious that you're dreaming. Okay, so these are some little tips that I can say that would help with that. Geraldine, can you heal genetically high cholesterol that is resistant to statin medication and healthy lifestyle choices? Or can I heal myself via meditation? So anything genetic is a long-term cyclical program that is inherited. We are not married to our genetics. This is now epigenetic science. We understand this well. What are the changes emotionally within your programming of reactions to triggers that need to change? Cholesterol has a lot to do with the ability to feel safe. And I have it in my notes, but I don't have it here right now. I might have it here. Let me just really quickly. Just to give you a quick idea about what it is. I forget what cholesterol was about. Okay, cholesterol, it's primarily about joy. It's primarily about joy and being able to access joy, essentially. This is what it is. Being in states of fear. When we embody, let me actually show you this over here. I'm going to show you this presentation in just a moment, but just really briefly, the meridian line that connects the blood creation of our body and the cleansing of our body is in two parts, the spleen and also the hips, in which we are creating blood. So coming into states of joy, what blocks your ability to come into joy? Are you constantly in a state of fear? Are you constantly in a state of survival? Okay. Are you worthy of joy? So this is the main program that needs to be broken from this generational bloodline. And when you begin to infuse your own blood with joy, this will help move immediately. Okay. Remember that every single organ in the body, when we clear out these blockages, we begin to create runways of energy. Okay, so that's really important. So, okay, guys, thank you so much for your amazing questions. I'm going to answer more questions in just a moment, but really briefly for today's meditation, I want to talk a little bit about this umbilical cord, because the life force generator within our bodies that we first come into at the stages of development, we were just talking about this with the children, is functioning like a spiral as well. Okay, so the way that we are fed from the mother's life force comes in and produces life force for the fetus. Everything in our universe is functioning in this spiral motion. And what we need to learn to do in our physical bodies is to continue that spiral nutrition by creating a spiral movement of life force through the physical body. So today we're going to work on that. The way that life force moves to the body, remember, is a toroidal fields within fields. So we have 13 of these fields around our bodies that are constantly processing information in and out of the body. And so when we begin to access the clearing of these fields, it allows for higher bands of frequency to enter into the body. And what we want to begin to do is we want to begin to move the life force in this spiral motion around the body so that we can open up the channels that are blocked of life force within the body, as we talked about in a spiral motion. When we do this, we activate the major points of the multidimensional body, including the major organs, the functions of the secretion of important life forces in the body, as well as the nervous system and the regeneration of this body. So to maintain a healthy spiral of life force in the body, it is the healing of emotional trauma. I want to make that very clear because this isn't clearly indicated in this work, and I want to make it very clear. When we do not handle emotional blockages, we will not be able to move life force through the body, because your body is made up of information that is expressed through our holographic multidimensional body, which is an expression of your holographic DNA. So as you begin, you know, your body looks like this, right? So as you begin to move these, you begin to spin in alignment with the universe and world and nature. So this is where we become co-creators. This is the most important thing that we need to remember. We become co-creators when we begin to move the matrix out of our programming. And matrix is separation, suffering, and survival. Okay, those are the main areas of creation. So today, exactly, Anders, even similar names, spiral, spirituality, exactly. Yeah, I love that. That's so interesting. So within the DNA is embedded universes and universes of this information, because we are holding different vibrational densities within the DNA that allow us to access into these high ranges of frequency. The more that you unclog and unpack programming, you can access interdimensional aspects of your DNA. This is the star seed aspects of yourself. I had a question the other day from someone that says, I miss my star seed family. I feel that I cannot connect with them. What do I do to reconnect with them? Well, our star seed lineages are not something separate from ourselves. It is encoded in our DNA. It is waiting for us to become aware of it. It's us that needs to become aware of it, not that we're connecting to anything external, because it's in the DNA. The more that we activate DNA, this turns into this entire huge, thick system of data. Within this DNA is one tablespoon of DNA is the entire world history. Okay, the entire world history. So in each one of you is encoded the entire world history, in addition to the universal history, the connection to everything that you are and you have the potential of becoming, your archetypes, your information, all of this, okay, is encoded in your DNA. So our job through this coiling, through the nourishment that we receive from the mother, we begin to access our nutrition from the universe, which is the collective whole that provides us the profound awareness with what we are and who we are. So this is where we begin to activate this Merkaba state, as we mentioned before, and not just the Merkaba. Merkaba is just one of the many forms that our body can take. Our body has infinite dimensional aspects that we can embody into. And each dimensional plane bends light, moves matter in different ways to create these incredibly high functioning systems of navigation. Okay. So in today's meditation, we're going to begin to access that. So I want you all to get very nice and comfortable, and we'll get started. Okay, we're going to start by inhaling deeply and exhaling. Inhale deeply and exhale. And with every breath you take, as you allow yourself to come into a state of complete relaxation, complete calm, begin to notice your body getting very nice and comfortable in a seated position. I want you to straighten your back really nice and tall, decompressing any kind of suppression of emotions or contractions that are within the body. Breathing deeply. Okay, so as you allow yourself to connect to your body, I want you to focus on the root chakra. Go ahead and shrink it down to the size of a dime. I'm going to jump right in. Going up to the sacral, shrinking that chakra down to the size of a dime. Going up to the solar, shrinking the body down to the size of a dime. Going up to the heart chakra, go ahead and expand that heart chakra as wide as possible, opening the center for unconditional love. Going up into the throat, go ahead and expand that throat chakra, opening the center of communication. It should be very easy now for most of you. As you go up into the third eye, go ahead and expand your third eye, front and back. You're going to go up into your crown, into the 7th and the 8th. Go ahead and activate the 7th and 8th chakra. Go ahead and ground yourself down to the center of the earth. Come fully into your body in this time, in this space. Okay. Now that you're here, go ahead and feel your space around you. I want you to own your space as you become aware of your 13 layers that surround your body. And you're going to clear them, starting with the first layer. It's going to be really quick now because you guys are pros at this already. So we're just going to visualize the first layer of the body clearing. You're going to just imagine, just look at the first layer, all the debris. The debris is all the entanglements that you've come into today, emotions, heavy emotions, fears, thought forms that are limiting, all of that stuff, unconscious belief systems, unconscious emotions, anything that we have counter created unconsciously out of the first layer of the body, clear it out. Going to the second layer, clear it out. The third layer. The fourth layer. Clear it out. For those of you that have respiratory issues, this fourth layer will be really stagnant. Go ahead and clear it out, my loves. Let that go. You're going to also feel it in the back of your spine, in the sacral area. Clear that out. In your fourth layer. Okay, go into the fifth layer now. Go ahead and clear it out. To the sixth layer, clear it out. The seventh layer. And the eighth layer. Go ahead and notice the emotions that you most felt today. Go ahead and tune into those. What are they? And just as you observe your day, as you observe yourself, I want you to begin to bring up green life force from the center of the earth. As you begin to pull up that life force into your vortex, as it begins to spin, go ahead and bring up that green life force into the body. From source, go ahead and bring down that powerful wave of gold cosmic energy. Bring it down to the crown of the head, combining with the green earth energy. Combining, mixing, clearing. Send 10% of that back down. Go ahead and eliminate everything, my loves. Let go. Let go of the past. Let go of your fears of the future. Let go. Remember what it feels like to be a divine existence in communion with the universe. This is encoded in your existence. So just bring yourself into that union of perfection as you are in this moment. You're going to go to your solar plexus, take 80% of that out through the crown of your head, coating the outside of your field. I want you to call back your life force from all the things you did today, people, places, and things that are no longer in alignment. Inhale deeply. And exhale, release. Owning your space, cultivating your space. Okay, you're going to take that final 10%, bring it into the body, bringing this green and gold life force, absorbing it into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level of the body. Speak to your cells, wake up those cells into a state of consciousness, awareness. When there's war inside of the body, there is illness. So allow the cells in your body to come into coherence as they all begin to recognize creation rather than counter creation in the body. And all those little viruses and bugs that don't belong in the body are transmuted into unconditional life force, unconditional love, into a life force of creation. You are worthy of love. I want you to breathe love into your body, absorb it into the body, feel it in your shins, your calves, your knees, your organs, in your lungs. The universe loves you. I love you. You are deeply loved. Everyone loves you. As you embody this love in your body, I want you to begin to focus on the life force in the perineum. The perineum is at the very base of the body, in between the lower parts, underneath the pelvic bone. Go ahead and take a look at the perineum. And go ahead and visualize a vortex there that's going to begin to eliminate any kind of stagnation in the perineum. A lot of illness, a lot of sorrow, heavy emotions is stuck here. So imagine this vortex going down to the center of the earth, just clearing it out, unblocking it first, opening that gateway. And you're just gently going to allow yourself to go to your third eye, your forehead. And go ahead and activate your pineal gland. Begin to see into the darkness. Look into that darkness until you find that violet light. see that violet light. Expand that violet light all around you. You're going to put your tongue to the palate of your mouth, and I want you to draw this life force down in front of your body, down through the perineum, up into the tailbone, into the spine, as it wakes up all of the internal organs, all the organs are connected to the spine. So it's just going to wake up the organs as this beautiful life force starts moving up the spine into the lower back, waking up the lower back, waking up the dantian, loosening up blockages in this integration and powerhouse of empowerment. Going up into the solar plexus in the back, open that up. Going up into the behind the heart now, behind the lungs. Clear that out, activate that. Going up into the neck. Now, most viruses are taken in here behind the neck. Okay. So this is where we want to begin to clear out in C7, for those of you that are familiar with the spinal cords. Go into that C7 right behind the neck at the top of the shoulders. And you're just going to visualize a vortex of light clearing out any stagnation here. This is where we hold a lot of fear, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and this suppresses the immune system of the body. So just visualize clearing that out as you allow this life force to begin to move up now into the neck, into what's called the jade pillow, which is at the base of the nape of the neck, where we begin to access into the higher levels of the brain, entering into the system of the major chords of the nervous system. So go ahead and bring that energy up into the body. Okay. So you're just going to allow yourself to go right around, back down through the crown of the head. Visualize that energy down through the nose, down through your tongue. Allowing that energy to drop down into the tongue from the palate of the mouth. You're going to put your tongue close behind the front of your teeth. And just allow that life force to drop into the tongue. Move in through the tongue, in through the throat, and down through the front of the body again. Breathing, breathing deeply, absorbing that life force, gently allowing, moving your life force through the body. Again, going down into the perineum, bringing up into the spine. Imagine that your body functions like a suction as it pulls that life force up into the body. And all you have to do is just become aware of this energy moving through your spine. At first, you might not feel very much, but you will as you continue this practice. You will feel the energy moving up. It is moving, just your intention is moving it. So as we reconnect the senses and the mind, the body begins to adjust and respond. So again, moving up the spine, up into behind the heart, behind the lungs, up to that C7 behind the neck, going up into the neck now. Up into the crown of the head, bringing it over the cranium, into the pineal gland, down through the crown of the head, activating, unclogging and moving, back down through the front of the body, down through the major chakras of the front of the body. Breathing. Beautiful. Once again, we're going to pull it up one last time, up through the perineum, up through the spine. Visualize the spine, sucking that energy up into that little tailbone as it moves up into the spine, up into the spinal cord, in behind the heart, behind the lungs, into the neck. Declog the areas of pain and suffering in the body. As you wake up from the matrix and into your sovereign soul, which is not the physical, not the emotions, but creative life force, as you bring that life force and begin to master life force through yourself, as yourself, bring that life force into the crown of the head, bring it down over the body, into the tongue, to the tip of the tongue, through the palate, and down into the throat and into the body once again. Okay, so you're going to feel a really empowering surge of energy through your body right now. Okay, so this is really powerful meditation that I want you to practice and incorporate as part of your daily alchemical training. When we do this practice, it is essential to resolve the emotional body. So as you're doing this, take a look at the emotions that are in your body that you experienced most today, and observe yourself. What is it that you required in order to embody your highest expression in those experiences? Go ahead and see yourself, observe, receive the insights that you require from these daily experiences. Okay, and what are you going to do differently tomorrow? Just observe that. Observe the inner child that may have reacted in adverse ways today. How can we heal this inner child? As you regulate your emotional body. Excellent work. I want you to see a room full of karmic contracts, all of the karmic agreements you have made to experience that are expressed through your DNA. You're going to see them in a room. I want you to shine your crown light on top of those contracts and dissolve them. Letting go, the intelligence of your body will know which contracts you're ready to dissolve. And the agreements are consciously made now. As you eliminate those contracts, we are becoming aware of the patterns that we are looking to break and end within and around us. So as you dissolve those contracts, empty out that room. I want you to fill that room with your creative color. And as you fill that room with that creative color, we are beginning to activate out of the matrix into our sovereign co-creation state. You're elevating your frequency right now because you're coming into awareness. You're now in a state of choosing, choice. Okay, so what are you going to choose now as you begin to embody yourself in a state of love? I want you to inhale and fill your body with love. I want you to visualize from source, from the cosmos, from the universe. You're going to pull down a powerful wave of love into your body. Acceptance, validation. The universe loves you. I love you. We love you. Every human on this planet loves you, needs you. So allow the body to absorb that love into the core, into the cells, as you nourish yourself with infinite life force. Go ahead and open the root chakra, open that root chakra back into a balanced state. Allow that love to infuse into the root chakra. Go into the sacral. Open that sacral. Allow that love to infuse into the sacral. Go into that solar plexus. Let that solar plexus infuse. Go into the heart. Allow your heart to infuse with that love. Nourish yourself. Feed yourself. This is the true food of the soul and of your existence. Go up into the throat. Go into the third eye. As you meet yourself here, go ahead and smile. I want you to smile, and you're going to smile with your organs. Remember, every organ has to smile. So bring the body into one giant smile. The lungs are smiling right now, especially those of you that are having respiratory issues. The spleen, the stomach, the liver, the kidneys, the sexual organs. Bring them into a high vibration state of purity, of innocence, of divinity. Go into the brain. Allow your brain to smile. Let the eyes and the face smile. Make your entire aura smile. In this place, you are indestructible because you own your space. So as you bring yourself back into the room and you open your eyes, you are grounded, protected, aligned, and co-creating. I want you to open, with your eyes open, your 9th chakra. Activate the 9th. Smiling. The 10th. The 11th. The 12th. The 13th. And above you is a powerful white light, a source. Go ahead and anchor that source down through your body. I want you to see a pillar of white light down through the center of your body. When this pillar of white light is solid and through the body, illness cannot exist in the body. It completely readjusts all the organs into balance, and it just cannot exist. Flushes right out. Okay? Excellent, you guys. I want you to open your eyes and welcome back. And I want to thank you so much for joining me once again. It was such an honor to be here with you and share this evening and do this energy work. If you guys have any questions, please put it down in the chat. I'm going to join the chat and see if you guys have any questions right now. Let me know how that felt. Let's see if you guys have any questions here. What does it mean to see eyes that appear randomly in my mind every day? The eyes look extraterrestrial, big, or other times more human. Sometimes I see faces. That's okay, my love. We are looking at the many layers of archetypal filtering that we tune into in our multidimensional body. So allow yourself to connect with the eyes, see what the message is, what's the communication, is there something that needs to be shared with you, received? Always maintain yourself neutral, no fear, in a place where you can receive whatever's being offered through this communication. And if there's nothing to be offered, you can just let it out of your way. Use your intuition. Every time something shows up in your space, it's an opportunity to train your intuition. So allow yourself to come into this empowered state of knowing, and you will always be able to see. Remember that another way to decipher your agreements with what you're encountering is by shining your crown light on top of whatever appears in your space. And if your contract is small, you can just eliminate it out of your space. It means it's not really there for you, or it's short agreement or imbalance agreement. If it's a big contract, then we have some agreement with them. We have some work to do. So allow yourself to tune into that contract, feel into the agreement, dissolve it if you're ready to let it go, and you can let them be on your way. It's our choice. We can connect and interact with anything we desire. But remember, the side effects of that is always an imposition on free will. So make sure you are always aware of what you're agreeing to and why. If it comes from a place of fear and need, it's going to result in fear and need. If it comes from a place of unconditional love, unity, and freedom, then it results in that as well. Okay. Mary Lena, so example, my mother believed that because her family, they all developed heart and diabetes, she had it too. However, I changed it for myself by thinking I am not going to inherit these. Awesome, Mary Lena. So she was able to change her programming from that illness. Excellent example. When you break contracts, what happens to the body of the person you're breaking a contract with? What's your role in manifesting the inner state of a person who feels your inner world? So when we are working with contractual agreements, both are in agreement with the timing and what to do with that contractual agreement. But we cannot impose on their participation. You can only access your participation. So when you break a contract, all you're doing is you are shifting your participation in that agreement. Now, if the other person is psychic or very intuitive, they will feel it, and it will wake up an opportunity for them to choose what to do with their participation. This works a lot in partnership, like families and marriages, where we're deeply, deeply interconnected and constantly interacting. And it allows collective healing, and it's an opportunity for healing. But mind you, you are never changing the other person. If that's against the laws of free will, and you simply cannot, even if you wish that you could affect the other person, but the other person will feel it. All that you are responsible for is your participation, and it's your patterning that is being reflected by the other person. So that's really how you are working with that. What is the name of the app so I can access the challenges? Love this meditation clearing. You're so welcome, Stephanie. I put it in a video 2 days ago. Let me see if I can find that quickly for you. And I will put it there for you. Let me see if there are any other questions. Brilliant and lovely as always. Sniffle, I'm so happy you like it. Geraldine, a reminder to share the Qigong video. Yeah, I'll put that down for you. I'm going to put it in the comment section, okay, for anyone that's joining us. You're right. I'm in a peaceful season, spreading goodwill and all. During the meditation, the last few days, my head face started moving on its own in a very calm spiral motion. What does that mean? Excellent. The body will automatically start to move in a spiral movement as we unclog stagnation. So what's happening is that we're energy beings, and we have energy moving through us at all times. Now that you're becoming more sensitive, you're feeling how that body, the energy is moving through you. So come into observer state, come into a fluid state, and allow the energy to do what it needs to do. It's intelligent, and so is your body. It knows where it needs to go. So if your body needs to spiral, needs to move around, needs to shift, move around, let it do what it needs to do. You are holding energetic space. Come into love to raise that vibrational frequency and implement the higher healing for yourself, okay? So let me come here. I'm finding this, and we're going to invite participants. I'm going to copy the link, and here it is. I'm going to put it in the chat for you. That is how you can access that, my love. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Christine. Embody, that sounds beautiful. Yeah, Angie, welcome. Enoch Lowe, so great to see you, Enoch. Thank you, Geraldine. Feel heavy and relaxed. It's beautiful. Mary Lena, I was able to view my full chakra and visualize what we're doing. It felt easier than yesterday. Awesome. You're doing amazing work. Dawn, I feel amazing. Yes, let's get that going. This is a great meditation for the morning, by the way, because it's going to energize you. Amazing meditation. Thank you so much. Yes, please share the videos of Qigong. I've not heard of that term. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about, love. Wow, amazing. Thank you, Lady Geraldine. This was beautiful. You're a powerful healer. Thank you so much. Just waking up. Emmer, so beautiful, nurturing, and self-empowering this meditation. Thank you, Geraldine. really experiencing authentic, expansive freedom and joy. Awesome. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing night, an amazing day, wherever you're tuning in from. Please do share this video if you feel that it was helpful, and share some more. Hold on. Caitlin has a question. What does it do to you to have a lifelong pain in the right side, a little bit below the shoulder? So the right side of the body is the masculine, and the shoulder represents that we're taking on more than we can handle. So take a look at your programs of money, responsibilities, and your ability to manage and juggle coping actions in your life, implementations of things. That's the primary programs that are in those parts of the body. You can also take a look at the slides in the app that can help you access and pinpoint some of those points. I put really awesome charts in there for you. But most importantly, Caitlin, sit with the pain and let it talk to you. Don't read any charts first. Sit with the pain, and in that pain, in the discomfort of the pain, name out and describe that pain in emotions. That right there will give you everything you need to know, because that's the storage of something that's been ignored and suppressed. Okay, and it's the same thing with any part of your body. The left is always the feminine, the right is the masculine. Sit with the discomfort that's there. Feel that pain. Go dive into the pain or the discomfort and name it out in emotions. That's how you're going to know what's being stored there. And you're also going to be able to relieve pain. I've worked with hundreds of people, including myself, and know that this is something that really works. Okay. All right. I love you very much. Much love to you. Have a beautiful day. See you soon. Bye-bye.